The chair recognizes the gentleman from Washington, Mr. Inslee. Does the gentleman have an amendment?
Madam Chair, would you defer just for about a minute and a half, or is there another minute we could take? I want to check on something before we offer this.
Certainly. Does another member from...
Madam Chair, I've got an amendment that's ready.
The gentleman from Michigan has an amendment.
We've got an amendment in block. It's myself, Mr. Radonovich, and Mr. Terry.
May I reserve a point of order in that?
Do you really want to? And while the clerk is passing it out, I'd make a couple of comments. I intend to withdraw my amendment, but still you need to deliver them. And let me, is it okay?
If the gentleman was suspended, the clerk shall consider the amendments as read. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, as we know, the United States needs for electricity is going to increase by 30 to 40% by the year 2030, and I believe very strongly in a clean energy program, but I also don't think that we can have one without nuclear. And my provisions create a new title that do a number of things, but it also streamlines the approval process. Jobs are important. I know that in Mr. Dingell's district, the Fermi plant, DTE, submitted an application where they've spent well over $150 million more than a year and a half ago. I'm looking forward, I hope, to seeing one or both of the two nuclear plants in my district expand. But quite frankly, 5 minutes is not enough to debate this title as we are getting ready to conclude the bill in the next hour or so. And so I am prepared to withdraw the portion of the en bloc amendment that I introduced following a colloquy with Mr. Dingell and with Mr. Hill. And I yield to Mr. Dingell.
My good friend, for yielding to me. I'd like to observe that there appears to be a great deal of merit in the amendment. I think that there is a certain amount of controversy with it also. But I would like to work with my good friend to, if possible, get it into shape where we could offer it at some future time and see to it that it was successfully included in this legislation as we move through the process. So I want to thank him for what he's doing. I have high regard for him and great affection.
Mr. Hill?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would echo what Mr. Dingell has already said about Mr. Upton's bill. You know, the elephant in the room on energy independence and clean energy is nuclear. And I think we need to get over the fact that it's not something that America wants to do anymore. And for some reason we have got this attitude that nuclear needs to be off the table. Well, we need to get it back on the table because nuclear is the one technology that is proven. And we are exploring a lot of different new technologies that may or may not work. I happen to believe that most of them will work. But we know that nuclear works, and it works safely. And so I join with Representative Upton in his efforts to try to jumpstart nuclear, and I want to do my part in lending assistance to his efforts.
Well, I thank you both. I look forward to working with both of you as we prepare an amendment for when this bill gets to the floor, and I would yield the balance of my time on this amendment. I would ask unanimous consent to withdraw my portion of the en bloc amendment and then yield the balance of the time to Mr. Terry and Mr. Radonovich.
Thank you, Mr. Upton. And I feel that these three amendments that I have actually strengthen our nuclear program. They're not meant to be messaging. They're real. One, number 27, authorizes the additional $50 billion to the loan guarantee program. Number 25, I think it is, eliminates barriers to the loan guarantee program. What we found out, if you're a joint operation or a partnership, that you're excluded from participating in the loan program. That's disqualified some, so we want to eliminate those barriers. Also, to encourage the modern technology of recycling within the nuclear power, what number 20 does is defines recycled nuclear fuel as a renewable. With that, am I authorized to yield to Mr. Radonovich?
Please. I thank the gentleman from Nebraska. My amendment is simple, Mr. Chairman. It makes a state ineligible to receive emission allowances if the state prohibits or limits the construction of new nuclear facilities for any economic or other reason. It affects about 16 states in the country, and hope for a yes vote on this, and yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back his time. So we had, how many amendments offered? But how many do we have? We have 4 pending, 1 withdrawn?
Max 4.
No. Okay, so we have 4 amendments that we're considering by unanimous consent in block. And as I understand, there's opposition to that en bloc amendment. Mr. Markey, do you want to express your opposition now, and do the members want to vote, or shall we respond to the votes on the floor? Why don't you give your opposition, then we'll vote when we come back, unless we can do it quickly.
Well, this is an important debate, Mr. Chairman, a very, very important debate. So I hope.
Well, then why don't you use your 5 minutes of opposition, and then we'll come back and vote.
Thank you. On the Terry amendment, this amendment appears to be an attempt to address the issue of subrogation, that is, the status of the United States government as a lender to a nuclear power plant that has gone bankrupt. We think that if that occurs, the United States should be at the very head of the line of the creditors to the now insolvent nuclear power plant. This amendment is designed to change that, to not let the taxpayers who have provided the loans for the nuclear power plant to be first in line to gain access to whatever assets are left of that nuclear company. Our staff asked the head of the Nuclear Energy Institute whether this language was something that they were seeking. He just told us no, they're not seeking it. And so as a result, this appears to be an attempt to do subrogation.
Can you read the language?
But it
will
was.
the gentleman yield for 5 seconds?
I'll be glad to yield.
That is no way the intent. Which one are you reading?
Do you have the which Terry amendment are we talking about here? Yeah, the Terry amendment number 25. What?
Oh, okay, 25, that joint ownership and partnership with another qualified public power entity.
So would the gentleman explain if that's if he is not intending on changing the laws of subrogation, could he explain what he is intending on accomplishing?
It is not intended to change the subrogation. It is intended that when 2 entities partner up together, that they should be eligible under the loan program. There's actually been denials of application to the loan guarantee program because they're a joint ownership or a partnership.
Could the gentleman explain what exists in the Title V existing program, that the Title VII program that prohibits that right now?
I cannot explain that. All I know is that they have been denied joint ownerships or a partnership between 2 entities have been denied. And so this clarifies the language that a joint venture or partnership would still be eligible.
If the gentleman would yield, we have not been able to find any language in the law which prohibits that, but we do know that there are some who wish that in the event of a bankruptcy, and since tens of billions of dollars of taxpayer money is now at risk because these nuclear power plants are being built with federal taxpayer dollar guarantees. So if something goes under, that means that we lose the money. The taxpayers lose the money. So who do the taxpayers go against? And what has been happening is there has been an attempt to modify these subrogation rules in a way in which each one of the entities are not liable to the taxpayers for the bankruptcy. And so that's the concern that I have. And otherwise, there is no explanation for an amendment of this nature, since there really is no prohibition on joint partnerships. What we're concerned about is what happens at the point at which a bankruptcy occurs.
Yeah.
And so if I can, in the Radonovich amendment, which is before us, it would actually disallow California and Wisconsin from receiving any allowances under this law for efficiency and renewable energy because they have laws that prohibit the construction of new nuclear power plants. So the state of California, under this law, would be prohibited from benefiting, even though they have exercised their own state's rights in determining what kind of electrical generating facilities that they want to see constructed in their own home states.
Will the gentleman yield?
I'll be glad to yield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason I put this bill in the hopper was because I believe that this bill will result in higher energy prices, and I don't think that we can call for higher energy prices without guaranteeing access to every type of clean and cheap energy to all consumers, and that access should be made to all consumers all across the country. I yield back.
All time has expired. Do members feel comfortable to vote now?
Can I,
Mr. Terry, it's your amendment.
Strike the last word to engage in a colloquy?
The gentleman's recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you. First of all, Mr. Markey, Ed, the plain language, I don't think, does anything here with subrogation. That was never the intent. It was simply, and whether or not the Title VII is unclear about whether it includes joint ownership. The problem is it's being interpreted internally that way, and so this just simply allows those type of entities to be eligible. Second question, Mr. Waxman, are there any of these 4 that could be accepted?
Oh, okay. I would like to work with the gentleman, but
We do a roll call.
at this point I'm just unsure of what the intent of it would be.
Let me ask the gentleman, if you would. We don't find it acceptable at this point, but we'll continue to talk to you, and I'd urge you to withdraw the amendments. If you want, we'll take a vote. You want a voice vote?
I would strongly encourage y'all to withdraw and work with them, honest. Okay. They got 36 votes, we got 23, half our members aren't here. We got 5 more amendments to do.
Gentlemen, would...
So if you withdraw them, I will work to make sure that every consideration is given to putting something in this if and when this bill goes any further.
All right, I'll withdraw.
Okay. Then, gentleman withdraws.
Unanimous consent to withdraw my 3.
You don't need unanimous consent.
Oh,
are all the authors willing to join you?
I think so.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Okay. All the amendments in block are withdrawn. We have a series of votes on the House floor. Please return after that, and we'll try to conclude our markup.